Let's speak now to Ali Shihabi, founder and executive director of the Arabia Foundation. Welcome. What do you think is going on here exactly?
Well, it's not as dramatic as it sounds. There has been a restructuring plan underway in the Ministry of Defense for the last 3 years, from the time when the present Crown Prince became Minister of Defense. They've been using consultants, and they've been working to restructure the whole defense ministry. At the same time, obviously, the war in Yemen was the first real war that the Saudi military had fought in the last few decades. So there's a learning curve that they went up during this war, which has benefited the project and given a lot of information and data to the leadership about how best to restructure the military. But it's not as dramatic as a sort of a late night purge. Some of them were normal retirements. But I think the new appointments particularly are significant in the sense that they are part of the program to reorganize and re-energize the military. You have to remember that the Saudi military was a bit of a parade ground military for the last 20, 30 years. It hadn't really fought a war by itself. So this was, a steep learning curve that has been taking place for the last 2 years. And this is the culmination of a really well thought out and studied program.
Because I suppose an outside observer might suspect that these figures were taking the rap when really the Crown Prince himself has been the driver of this war. And I do remember him promising that the Houthis in Yemen would be defeated within weeks.
Mike, I don't remember that promise. In fact, I'll tell you something interesting. There's a misconception that says that the Saudi leadership thought the Houthis would be removed or defeated within weeks. You have to remember that the Saudis had actually fought the Houthis 3 years before, 4 years before that, and it had been a very difficult fight. And that had been before the Iranians had gotten their hands into, the Houthi organizations and started helping them. So I think Saudi leadership had no illusion that this was going to be a long haul and it was going to be a difficult fight. And they had no illusion that this was going to finish in a few weeks.
Just very briefly, if you don't mind, earlier this evening we've had Russia vetoing a draft resolution from Britain at the UN that would have pressured Iran over failing to block supplies to the rebels. Now the UN Security Council extending sanctions on Yemen. What do you make of that?
Well, the Russians are trying to balance their traditional relationship with Iran, with their growing relationship with Saudi Arabia. It is disappointing, but, they're playing a balancing act. And I think they felt that the British draft was too strong. And I think there is talk about coming up with another draft. But obviously, the Russians are running interference for their Iranian allies in Yemen.
Ali Shihabi of the Arabia Foundation, thank you very much.
Thank you.